Hey guys, Super Trini GSP here on GSP Talk Sports. We're talking football roundup for this weekend gone, match day 5 or week 5. EPL on the Saturday, starting with Liverpool versus Everton. I had predicted 1-0 or 2-1 for Everton, and rightly so, 2-1 for Liverpool. Gravenberch with a cracker of a goal in the 10th minute, and Eketike in the 29th with an assist from Gravenberch, man of the match Gravenberch. Everton, well, they crept back into it after the 2-0 up via Ganagay in the 58th to make it 2-1, but Liverpool held out for the 2-1 win. And next for Liverpool, by the way, Woods and Isak were kept on the bench, so a lot of transfer money on the bench there. And Liverpool with a 5 point cushion at the top. So still early days yet, but I mean I can't complain. Perfect. 5 matches played, 5 wins in the EPL, and a 5 point lead. It's looking good so far, right? And Liverpool next game is versus Southampton in the Carabao Cup, and Everton next host Wolves in the Carabao Cup as well. Moving on, Brighton versus Spurs. This one we had predicted a 2-1 Spurs win. It ended up 2-2. Brighton moving down into, well, from 13th to 14th. Spurs were third, remain third. Brighton led 2-0 actually, and Spurs pulled it back before halftime. And yeah, made this one very interesting. Spurs doing well early on in the season, and Brighton weren't so didn't start off that well. Lost Bournemouth. So a good draw for Brighton there against a much improved Spurs. Brighton next against Barnsley in the Carabao Cup, and Spurs next against Doncaster in the Carabao Cup. Should be well predicting victories for both of them. And moving on, Burnley versus Forest. We had predicted a 1-1 draw, and it was a 1-1 draw. So far so good there with the predicting the Liverpool win and the Burnley and Forest draw. It was 1-1 in about 20 minutes, and to be honest, Forest with about 17 shots probably deserved to win. To 12 shots, Burnley. Burnley, you would remember, plucky in their last game, unlucky if they would think to not escape at a point. And they next play Cardiff in the Carabao Cup, and Forest travel to Betis in Europa. Next, we have West Ham versus Palace. For this one, we had predicted a 2-0 Palace win. Remember, hard luck there, Ridra, West Ham fan, where looking at West Ham for possible relegation, and it ended up being a 2-1 Palace win. So West Ham moving from 18 to 19, Palace up from 9th all the way up to 5th place. West Ham with only 8 shots, Palace with 18. By the way, Palace is still unbeaten, 2 wins, 3 draws. They next host Liverpool in the next league match on Saturday, and West Ham next travel to Everton. So Palace still doing relatively well, still unbeaten as we would have said. So let's see what's in store for them end of the season. Would it be probably like a top 7 again, or somewhere around that point? Next, Wolves versus Leeds. So for this match, we had predicted a 1-0 Wolves. We kind of went against conventional wisdom there. And this one, we had a 3-1 Leeds win. I know I said I had the sentimental thoughts with Leeds, and knowing them from long ago, they good to see that they're doing well and looking likely to stay up. Wolves remain on 20th with 0 points, and Leeds move up 4 places to 12th. They were 16th before. Wolves led 1-0 actually, so they were on point for my predicted 1-0, and Leeds with 3 first half goals to make it 3-1. So 16 shots by Leeds to 6 by Wolves. So poor finishing in the end there. Could have probably had more. Next, Wolves play Everton in the Carabao Cup, and Leeds next go to Bournemouth. And next match we had Fulham versus Brentford. We had predicted a 1-1 draw for this one. It ended up a 3-1 Fulham. So Fulham up three spots from 11 to 8, and Brentford were 12. They moved all the way down to 17th. Brentford had a tough time out to Fulham. Fulham 14 shots to Brentford 8. Fulham next in the Carabao Cup versus Cambridge. Should be a easy match for them. And Brentford next was MANU. Do they get it back on track, or does well, we'll hear what happens with MANU. By the way, continuing, one of the other big matches from Saturday, we had MANU, who, by the way, we predicted a 2-0 Chelsea win in this match, Alex, and it ended up with a MANU win. MANU won this 2-1, by the way. So it was MANU 11 shots to 5 from Chelsea. Robert Sanchez, Chelsea keeper, was sent off in the 5th minute in this. And then Maresca took off 2 attacking midfielders one time, and he started Palmer. Palmer had to come off in the 20th minute. Should he have not started with Palmer, keep him on the bench if he wasn't 100% fit. And goals from MANU from Bruno Fernandes in the 14 and Casemiro in the 37. And then Casemiro got sent off in the 47th minute or thereabout. This one, I think Maresca would have gotten it wrong, because even if they went down to 10 men, they were playing against MANU. Yes, MANU at home, but I mean, everybody was having a decent time against MANU. They shouldn't have just gone trying to be too defensive, and it cost them. They went too negative. And I would say miscalculation, and making MANU against the 10 men initially look good and get their win. So MANU go next to Brentford. Do they make it the 2 in a row? We wait to see. I hope Brentford gets back their mojo and are able to put back MANU where they belong, because they moved. Actually, they stayed in 14th place, and Chelsea moved from 5th down to 6th. Staying in on the Saturday in Serie A, we had the Juve versus Hellas Verona, and I had predicted a 4-0 Juve win, and this one ended up 1-1. So boy, was I off for this. Juve had 72% possession, but only 10 shots on goal. So much improvement needed there. They hold on to the top spot, while Hellas Verona moved from 17th to 15th. We have Juve next playing Napoli on the Monday, and Atalanta for Hellas Verona. And in Italy, moving on there was the AC Milan versus Udinese. We had predicted on this 2-1 Udinese win, and it ended up with a 3-0 AC Milan win. So really off with that one there. Juve 13 shots, Pulisic double, by the way. Sorry, I said Milan 13 shots, Pulisic double, and they play Napoli next. And over in La Liga on the Saturday, Juventus are playing Atalanta next, as Verona will play Napoli. In La Liga, Real versus Espanyol, we had predicted 2-1 Real, and this ended up 2-1 Real. So we had predicted correctly here with Real Madrid. Sorry, 2-0 Real Madrid ended up winning. Goals from Milito and Mbappe, and they play Levante next. By the way, Real with 72% possession and 16 shots compared to Espanyol 8. You know, we always talk about a hard game when Real plays Espanyol, and it didn't prove otherwise. It proved just as predicted. Moving on, so we have the Sunday matches. Sunday, we had the big one, Arsenal versus City. We had predicted a draw. Well, I was hoping for a draw or a 2-1 City. I was actually hoping for a City win. And it ended up 1-1 there. Arsenal stay second. City move from 8th to 9th. Arsenal with 12 shots to City 5 with 67% possession by Arsenal. And how this match went, Haaland with a 9th minute goal, and you would think, well, you know, City would up the ante and take it from there. And I know Arsenal, people are criticizing Arteta with he's not going for it. He's you know, too defensive compared to how Liverpool are going for the wins and getting the wins. And they needed a 93rd minute equalizer from Martinelli, beating Donnarumma. By the way, it was a beauty of a goal, catching Donnarumma off his line and like lobbing him. Really, really great goal. They celebrated like they won. And so there's the thing. Are they really Neil Arsenal? Are they really the mentality monsters looking to push and go for wins in these sort of games? Or they're okay with getting a point against City? I mean, City kind of there for the taking right now. If a side like Arsenal, probably only Arsenal, probably Chelsea as well, who are possible title contentions, you would think that they would want to try and do a bit more and go for the win against a team like City. So we'll see whether that tactic changes with Arteta and they try to push for that top spot in the EPL. They next play Port Vale, Arsenal, by the way, in the Carabao, and City, Huddersfield Town in Carabao. And also on the Sunday in the EPL, we had Sunderland versus Villa. We had predicted a 2-1 Villa win. It ended up 1-1 there. Sunderland with a man sent off. And Villa, by the way, with 71% possession and 12 shots to 14. So a lot of possession, but not enough doing with it. So Villa moved from 19th to 18th. Sunderland up to 7th. They were Sunderland. They were a bit lower before. Right. They were down to 10 in the 33rd minute and came back to draw 1-1, which was really good to see from them. And we also had Bournemouth versus Newcastle. This one, we had predicted a 2-1 Newcastle, and it ended up 0-0. Right? Bournemouth, 11 shots to Newcastle's only 4. And Newcastle moved from 10th to 13th, Bournemouth up to 4th place. And yeah, well done by Bournemouth here in getting that draw. You would have probably thought, hey, Newcastle, they're supposed to win this match. So Bournemouth, by the way, next play Leeds. Newcastle next host Bradford in the Carabao Cup. And just rounded up on the Sunday, we had Barca versus Getafe. We had predicted Barca win by any margin, and it ended up 3-0 Barca. 71% possession, 16 shots to 3. Basically total domination. And by the way, a Rashford assist in the 3rd minute. So what are your thoughts from this weekend? Some interesting ones. MANU beaten Chelsea there, Arsenal and City share any points. And we also had the Liverpool win against Everton in the Merseyside derby. So I can't ask for more from the team right now. Not playing the best. They have a lot of improvements they can make in terms of players gelling together and holding the defense to be more prudent. Well, to make sure that they come along to make sure and tighten up on the defense, and we hope that Slot can find a way to do that pretty soon, because either luck will run out, or keep winning by these same margins. And if that's what we need to do to get it done, we'll do it. So don't forget, guys, please like, share, subscribe, and yeah, road to 200 subs.